Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse The Batman Drifter motorcycle. This is a motorcycle used by Bruce Wayne when he's posing as the Drifter, pretty much in disguise going around Gotham City. Not a Batcycle, just a regular looking motorcycle. If I like this thing a lot, I might have to get more of these. Really curious how it'll fit in with, I don't know, NECA's T800 Terminator, for example. I think this could get a ton of use in my action figure world. I got this vehicle from the CMD store, so let's go and check out the packaging. As you can see, DC Multiverse, the Batman, ages 12 plus, Drifter motorcycle. Here it is in the package. We have the motorcycle. It looks like a display stand there, a collector's card, and a motorcycle helmet. Top, the Batman, McFarlane toys. One side, Batman Drifter motorcycle from the Batman. Other side, pretty much the same thing. Back side, some other, the Batman figures. Here's the motorcycle with Drifter. On the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case that helps anybody. So with no further ado, let's open it up. And I did end up getting two of these things, one of which to open and enjoy, and the other one to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch unopened Batman related action figure collection. Here it is, next to the Batcycle from the Batman. And here are all four of the different Batcycles McFarlane has made so far. Pretty sure we're going to get one from the upcoming Flash film as well. Here's my entire collection of McFarlane DC Multiverse, the Batman figures unopened. I believe I have absolutely everything except for the upcoming Target exclusive Unmasked Drifter. If the movie's a big hit like I hope it's going to be, they might make some more figures, but I believe that's the entire collection so far. Alright, now that we got this vehicle out of the package, here it is with all of the accessories laid out. It does have a display stand, a collector's card, and a helmet that can be used for the Drifter Bruce Wayne figure. Now before we look at the accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual vehicle. So this is the Drifter motorcycle from the film. I'm actually not certain what kind of motorcycle it actually is. If anyone out there knows, drop me a line in the comments below. I'd be curious to be educated there. This is the motorcycle that Bruce Wayne is going to be riding around when he's sort of in his alter ego, the Drifter in Gotham City. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I imagine it's his alter ego as he's going around so nobody knows it's Bruce Wayne or Batman. I could be wrong, but I think maybe Catwoman was writing this in the trailer. There was definitely a part where Batman had a motorcycle, and that was definitely the Batcycle, and Catwoman also had a motorcycle. I thought maybe it was this. Once again, haven't seen the film, so not certain yet. Either way, this is a great motorcycle. The detail's fantastic. It's going to be a great all-purpose motorcycle. It isn't a Batcycle, so it can be used for a ton of things in my action figure world, and it's pretty big for a 7-inch scale. We don't have a lot of bikes for that. So let's take a look at it. The thing looks fantastic. All the weathering and for different detail. They could have just painted that part straight black, but they didn't. Seats brown, some cushions, more weathering. Nice little details on the controls here. I like it. Handlebar has texturing. You can see where he's going to sort of squeeze here. Front headlight, more weathering. The wheel, actual rubber tires, and it can rotate pretty nicely. Front, it can turn. Really liking everything so far. Back, another wheel. Tons of engine components here. The pedal. Now, the only thing I don't really like is that it can't stand up by itself. You have to use a display stand, and that does kind of hurt the aesthetic of things, but I get it. Just looks really nice. Not sure what the purpose of this little hole here is. And just a closer look at the bike and all the details in this thing. I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing in front of me. Here's a closer look at the front and of the back of the vehicle. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. It's a black circle. It's got a slot here that appears the wheel will fit inside of. You will need the display stand for the bike to stand up on its own. Here's the bike without the display stand. I have to lean it against a wall for it to stand upright. And here's the bike with the wheel inserted into the display stand. You can see it standing upright, not leaning against a wall. Now, I believe this is how the stand is intended to be used, but I really don't like the way it looks like this. You can put this display stand under the engine of the motorcycle, and I think it looks a whole lot better. The only sort of trade-off is either the front wheel or the back wheel is going to be risen off the ground ever so slightly. You can't even really tell. But I think this looks way better with this motorcycle, and the Batcycle has the exact same feature. You can put it under the engine just like this. Now let's look at its collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of the Drifter Bruce Wayne on top of the Drifter motorcycle. You really can't have one without the other. They're sold separately, but it would have made a pretty nice 2-pack. Drifter motorcycle from the Batman. On the backside, there's a description. If you want to read it, go ahead and pause now. Here's the Drifter motorcycle collector's card next to the Batcycle collector's card. Both vehicles are driven by Bruce Wayne. Now let's look at the helmet. It's a black motorcycle helmet. Nice bit of weathering at the top. All black, a little bit of silver. Black lens to the front. Hollow on the inside. You can pretty much head swap this with either versions of the Drifter Bruce Wayne. Here's the Drifter Bruce Wayne. This is the standard version that's going to be at all retailers. This one has the facial covering. There is another version of the Drifter Bruce Wayne that I don't have yet. The other version of the Drifter Bruce Wayne is a Target exclusive. It's an unmasked version. Here's the unmasked Batman next to the standard version of the Drifter Bruce Wayne. Now I have an extra Drifter that I turn into a random street thug. I'm going to go ahead and head swap the unmasked Batman onto the Drifter and make my own sort of makeshift Target exclusive unmasked Drifter Bruce Wayne. Put those two together, and that gives me a makeshift unmasked Drifter. That way, I can show both versions of the Drifter on the Drifter motorcycle. Here's the Drifter Bruce Wayne with the facial covering, and here's the unmasked Drifter Bruce Wayne. And here's the Drifter Bruce Wayne wearing the motorcycle helmet that came with the Drifter motorcycle. Here's the Drifter Bruce Wayne with the motorcycle helmet riding on the Drifter motorcycle. Here's the unmasked Drifter Bruce Wayne riding on the Drifter motorcycle. Here is the Drifter Bruce Wayne with the facial covering on the Drifter motorcycle. And in case you were wondering, here's Batman on the Drifter motorcycle. I doubt he's actually going to ride this himself in the movie, but you never know. And here's Catwoman on the Drifter motorcycle. I have a feeling she is going to ride this in the film. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the motorcycle, as well as some McFarlane the Batman figures that'll fit on this thing, now let's check out its measurements. From the front wheel to the back, a little bit over 9 inches long. And then from the bottom to the tallest point, about 4.5 inches tall. Now let's check out all the action features of this thing. So obviously it has a display stand to keep it from falling. Beyond that, you can grip the handlebars, the wheels, spin both the front and back, rubbery tires, and the front can rotate from side to side, allowing it to turn and make for some good photography. Here's Bruce Wayne and Alfred in the Batcave. He's putting on his Drifter disguise. And here's the Drifter Bruce Wayne driving down the streets of Gotham, and a closer look at the Drifter Bruce Wayne riding through Gotham streets. Driving around in disguise, nobody can tell who he is. Here's the Drifter Bruce Wayne watching things in Gotham City from behind the scenes. He gets off his motorcycle. He's trying to join up with a bunch of biker gang street thugs, trying to get some information. They're very suspicious of him. He knows he's in trouble when they all start pulling out weapons. Bruce Wayne quickly jumps into action, takes his helmet, and knocks out the first thug. He ends up taking out the rest of the thugs really quick. Ends up making short work of the rest of the street henchmen, but he didn't get the information he was looking for. Here's Batman taking out a couple of makeshift thugs made from these Drifter Bruce Wayne bodies. I actually think this came out every bit as good as I hoped. Here's an image of Batman driving the Batcycle and Catwoman driving the Drifter motorcycle down the streets of Gotham. I could be wrong, but I think I saw a shot in the trailer like this. And here's a frontal view of the two of them coming at you. Now let's check this motorcycle out, next to some other vehicles. Starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse vehicles, then we'll check it out with some other Batcycles and other motorcycles, and then we'll check it out with some action figures from different various companies and see what fits in this thing, including a NECA T800. Here's the Drifter motorcycle, next to the Bat Cycle, also from the Batman. The Bat Cycle is way bigger and bulkier than the Drifter motorcycle. Then, next to McFarlane's White Knight Bat Cycle, and here, next to the Dark Knight's Metal Bat Cycle. Here's the Drifter motorcycle, next to McFarlane's Bat Raptor, and then, next to the giant Batmobeast. Now let's check it out, next to some other Bat Cycles. Even though this Drifter motorcycle is not exactly a Bat Cycle, here it is, next to the DC Direct Batman the Animated Series Bat Cycle. Here's the Drifter motorcycle, next to 3 different versions of the Dark Knight Bat Pod. One's from Mattel, one's from Mafex, and one's from SH Figure Arts. Then, next to a Kenner Skywing Street Bike, and here it is, next to a couple of 6-inch scale basic Bat Cycles. I believe they're from the Justice League line and the Batman Missions line. Then, next to a Hot Wheels 1/12 scale 1966 Bat Cycle. And here, next to a 5-inch scale Mattel Justice League Bat Cycle. And now, next to a couple of 5-inch scale Mattel Brave and the Bold Bat Cycles. And here, next to a Toy Biz 1989 Bat Cycle. Now let's check it out, next to some motorcycles that I use for some other Batman related characters. Here it is, next to the Mezco 1/12 Collective Judge Dredd Lawmaster. I often give this as a Nightwing cycle. Here it is, with the DC Collectibles, DC Icons, Batgirl cycle. It's purple, works great for either Batgirl or Huntress. Then, next to a Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified motorcycle. I use this for Red Hood. And here, with an old Kenner Batman and Robin Redbird cycle. I use this for Red Robin. Then, next to a Hasbro Black Widow motorcycle. I use this for Batwoman. Now let's check it out, next to a bunch of other motorcycles from my collection. Here it is, next to a bunch of older Jakks-Pacific wrestling motorcycles. Then, next to a couple of newer Mattel wrestling motorcycles. And now, with both a NECA and a Kenner John Connor motorcycle. Then, next to a few different Maisto 1/12 scale motorcycles. And here, with a couple of newer Hasbro Marvel Legends motorcycles from Wolverine and the Punisher. And next to some older Toy Biz Marvel Legends motorcycles from Wolverine and Blade. Then, next to an older Toy Biz X-Men movie Wolverine motorcycle. And with a couple of Kenner Batman Forever Dick Grayson motorcycles. And here it is, next to a bunch of 1/12 scale model motorcycles. I got all these things from eBay for a pretty reasonable price. And finally, next to a few 1/12 scale police motorcycle models. Here's my entire collection of McFarlane the Batman figures. The only one I'm missing is the unmasked Drifter Bruce Wayne, and I'm sure I'll find him soon. Now let's check this motorcycle out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how it fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix this thing with. We're going to start off by checking it out next to a couple of Ultimate NECA T800 figures. One of my subscribers, Mars369, asked me if I could demonstrate this, so here it is. Here's a motorcycle next to an Ultimate T800 Police Assault Terminator from Terminator 1 and the T800 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Here's the Police Assault Terminator on this thing. Actually, it looks pretty good. And here it is, with the T800 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. He fits on there pretty good, looks pretty good. His butt doesn't quite fit on the seat. The knees would need to be a little bit more articulated. But it's one of the best fits I've found so far. Here's the bike, with a bunch of other McFarlane action figures. These are all 7-inch scale, and should fit in great with the motorcycle. Here's a Cyberpunk McFarlane figure on this bike. Fits pretty good. And now, next to some Jakks-Pacific wrestling figures. These guys are too poorly articulated to even try to fit on the bike. And here it is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here's the Diamond Select Pulp Fiction Butch figure on this thing. Fits okay, legs don't quite get on the pedals properly. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. Here's the DC Direct Arrow Diggle figure on this bike. And here it is, next to some NECA figures. Here's the NECA Uncharted Nathan Drake on this bike. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures, here's the Elite Undertaker on this motorcycle. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures, here's a Jazzwares wrestler on the bike. And here it is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures, here's a Mezco Batman on this bike. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures, here's the DC Universe Classics Batman on this bike. And here it is, with some Mafex figures. Here's the Mafex Hush Batman on this bike. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends, here's the Marvel Legends Punisher on this bike. And here it is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. Here's the SH Figure Arts Justice League Batman on this bike. And finally, here it is, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Here's the Jazzwares Fortnite Rust Lord on the bike. Overall, this is a fantastic motorcycle. Sort of an all-purpose bike. It's not a Batcycle, so it can be used for Batman, Bruce Wayne, a thug, or plenty other scenarios. I can find myself getting a ton of mileage out of this bike. Sculpt is very nice. Paint job is crisp. I like how there's some weathering. The bike's been used. The wheels function. You can turn. Wheels feel very solid in rubber. I like pretty much everything about this. It's a lot less bulky than the Batcycle, so it's going to fit in with your other lines a lot better. If I were to rate this thing, I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm just very pleased with this. I can just see myself getting so much use out of this thing. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure and action figure vehicle reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.